Bryson DeChambeau has finally answered Rory McIlroy, not with words, but with something far louder. It started at Royal Birkdale during the 2026 Open Championship in a week that was already spiraling before the third round even began. DeChambeau had been playing some of the best golf of his year. A brilliant 67 in the first round, a 66 in the second. He sat just one shot back of the lead, in red-hot form after a season where majors hadn't been kind to him. Then, on the fifth hole, his tee shot drifted into thick, waist-high fescue. As he stepped toward his ball to plan his second shot, rules officials watched closely. Moments later, they ruled he had improved the area of his intended swing by trampling down the grass behind the ball. The penalty was 2 strokes. His card changed instantly. The 66 became a 68. His one-shot deficit turned into a 3-shot gap. What could have been a routine par or bogey became a triple. DeChambeau didn't take it quietly. He argued his case with officials for close to half an hour. Reports circulated that he even threatened to withdraw from the tournament altogether. His representative told media he was completely serious about walking away, insisting DeChambeau had made a mistake, not committed a crime. The dispute dragged on so long that Saturday's tee times weren't released until close to midnight, throwing off the schedules of players, caddies, and volunteers across the course. That's when Rory McIlroy decided he'd had enough of staying diplomatic. Sitting in the players' lounge, McIlroy had watched the whole moment unfold live on a television screen with a handful of other golfers. The second DeChambeau stepped into that grass, something felt off to everyone watching. When the penalty was confirmed a short while later, McIlroy wasn't surprised. But when reporters asked him about it after his own round, he didn't hold back the way he usually does. He admitted he isn't a fan of DeChambeau, called much of what he does an act designed to draw attention, and said watching an entire tournament wait on him to make up his mind about walking off was simply a bad look for the sport. It wasn't a passing jab. It was one of the most direct personal criticisms McIlroy has ever aimed at a fellow competitor, and it instantly reignited a rivalry that has been simmering for years. Rewind to 2021, and the two men were nowhere near enemies. McIlroy actually stood up for DeChambeau back then, saying he believed there was a good person underneath all the noise and that being different shouldn't make someone a target. But everything shifted when DeChambeau left for LIV Golf in 2022. McIlroy had become the face of the tour's resistance to the breakaway league, and DeChambeau's departure felt, to him, like a personal betrayal. He later admitted he'd taken people at their word and been proven wrong. The rivalry turned raw at the 2024 US Open at Pinehurst. McIlroy had a 2-shot cushion with just a few holes left, a major that seemed destined to finally be his again. Then he missed 2 short putts, and DeChambeau slipped past him to win by a single stroke. McIlroy left without talking to the media and disappeared from the spotlight for weeks. When the two eventually crossed paths again on camera, there was a strange, tense banter between them, DeChambeau half-joking that McIlroy had really only lost that tournament to himself. Then came the 2025 Masters, where the two were paired together in the final round as McIlroy completed his career Grand Slam. DeChambeau later revealed that McIlroy barely spoke a word to him the entire day, even when he tried to start a conversation. McIlroy's response was blunt. He wasn't there to make friends, he was there to win a major. Later footage showed the two briefly clashing over who should putt first on the 9th green, with McIlroy flatly refusing to leave it up to chance, reminding DeChambeau that this wasn't some casual round on a random afternoon. So when McIlroy unloaded at Birkdale, it wasn't an isolated outburst. It was years of tension finally breaking into the Open. DeChambeau, for his part, refused to fight back in the press. He barely spoke to reporters after his round, answering only the minimum required by officials. But his actions told a different story. He signed autographs for a wall of fans. He waved to the galleries lining the fairways. After his final round, he took off his cap and gave the Birkdale crowd a proper send-off, even as some fans heckled him with chants questioning where his missing strokes had gone. Then, almost as if timed for maximum effect, a video surfaced of DeChambeau on the course mockingly swinging as if he were operating a weed whacker through the rough, a direct nod to the criticism he'd faced online. Days later, his team helped a young fan receive a free set of golf clubs, a gesture that split public opinion right down the middle. Some saw kindness. Others saw a calculated image repair campaign playing out in real time. Reaction across the golf world has been just as divided. Barstool's Dave Portnoy sided firmly with McIlroy, calling DeChambeau's public persona smoke and mirrors built for effect. ESPN's Pat McAfee praised McIlroy for finally speaking his mind so plainly, saying it's rare to see that kind of honesty in today's game. But not everyone agreed. World number 1 Scottie Scheffler came to DeChambeau's defense, insisting he's known him a long time and that whatever else people think of him, he is not a cheater. Scheffler also made it clear he has no interest in personal rivalries, saying his only real competition every week is the golf course itself. So where does that leave things? McIlroy said exactly what he was thinking in front of the entire golf world, and made no attempt to walk it back afterward. DeChambeau chose silence over the microphone, but let his actions speak instead, refusing to change who he is or apologize for how he handles pressure. Was McIlroy's honesty fair criticism, or a personal attack dressed up as concern for the game? Is DeChambeau misunderstood, or exactly the performer his critics claim he is? One thing looks certain. This rivalry isn't cooling down anytime soon, and every time these two share a leaderboard again, the whole sport will be watching.